Hey everyone, this is Ben, and currently this is our church building, and this is our current tech booth setup. Our plan for the future is that this whole area for tech will be shifted over to the far corner over here, and then the cameras will also be pushed back to a certain position as well. So I just want to take a little bit of time to look at the equipment and look at how we typically set things up for Saturday live stream. So over here you see our two cameras. They're covered by a sheet, so we'll want to take those off. Okay, so now we have the sheet off of the two cameras. Okay, and these are the two cameras we're primarily going to be using. You have this one on the left, which has a remote control and can be remotely controlled in terms of where it points. And you'll want to make sure that this bottom bar faces the tech booth, otherwise you won't be able to control it at all. This here is a little bit more of a manual camera, but we are using it currently to look at the band or record the band. So this new camera, this PTZ Optics camera, is what we call camera 1, and it will be primarily used for the speaker. Camera 2 over here is what we will use for the band. Okay, so now going to our tech booth area here. Okay, you can see everything. We like to put things under sheets because we have some ceiling stuff coming down, but we're just gonna remove this sheet. So here we have the soundboard uncovered, and here we have the computer uncovered. What we also have here is the ATEM Mini Pro, which is our video switcher, which allows us to switch between different camera views for our live stream. What is also important here is this box that is called the Boxcast, and this is what allows us to live stream. And also up above we have our projector. So as the person responsible for the live stream, you want to make sure that the cameras are on. So we always have this nice silicone cover over the lens here, and that just pops right off. You just want to be gentle. This does move very easily, so you just want to be careful. There's a switch in the back, and you'll just want to switch that to the on position, and you'll see those lights turn on, and it will do this rotating thing. It'll start moving. It's resetting itself and finding out where home is, and it will always point straight ahead. Okay, and then for camera 2 or our band camera, there's a little switch up on top here, and we just click the knob over to on, and you will see the picture come on, and it will be focused right on the band. So now we turn on the computer, and then actually to turn both the ATEM on and the Boxcast on, I have linked them both, and the soundboard. All three of these are linked into this power strip here. So when you click this power button on, you will see lights go on the ATEM, and you will also see lights go on the Boxcast. Both the ATEM and the Boxcast don't have their own individual power switch, which is why they've been linked to the power strip below. We're just going to go over the basics of how to operate the ATEM Mini Pro. So where you'll want to go first is ATEM software, which is this icon here, and it will open up. At first it'll say no switcher connected, but then it just takes a little bit of time and then it will load. So now that we have brought up the ATEM software control program, what we're going to do next is we're going to actually open up the Streamlabs application, which is this green square icon here. Okay, and once we open that up, that screen will load. And this is currently what's being sent out. So you can see I'm right here, I'm waving, there's me behind the computer. And that's being broadcasted from our camera 1, which is pointing at us right there, that gray one. Right now we have our ATEM, which there are numbers here, so this 1 means that that's the camera that it's on, that's being sent out to the live stream. And so if I change this to camera 2 and I click that, and then I switch over, you can see now I'm looking at the view of camera 2, which is looking at the band. So right now this is camera 2. If I switch back to camera 1, go to camera 1, and I click this button auto over here, which hopefully you can see in a little bit. It says auto, and that one says cut. We always want to press the auto button, and that'll give us a nice fade. When I press auto, we get that nice fade into camera 1, and it's back on me. Now, input number 3 is going to be our slides from Proclaim. So if I click that, it goes green. That doesn't mean switched over yet, but it's getting ready. And then when you click auto, it will switch over to camera 3. So you can see it still hasn't switched over to the slides, but if I click auto, it will then switch over to the slide I have. And that slide is coming from the laptop over here, which is typically there on a Saturday. And so you can see I'm up on that slide, and that's what's showing up. So this is input 3. We will have labels here. So label 1 will be speaker, 2 will be band, and 3 will be slides. Okay, now we're going to talk about how to place lyrics on the screen as the band is playing. So first you'll want to bring up the band, which is camera 2, and then we go over here and make sure that the slide person has the lyric slides up. Right now it's on the title slide, so we'll move it down to the lyrics. We come back over here, we go to the ATEM software control panel here, and you'll notice a box here that says next transition. And on the top here, this button, you can't see it very clearly right now, but it says on air. So I'm going to leave my mouse there and I'm going to zoom out, and when I click the on air button, you'll see on the left side of the screen, you'll see those lyrics pop up. So now you see those lyrics. I've heard 1,000 stories of what they think you're like. And that's what's showing on the computer screen over here. And then when you want to take off the lyrics, you just click this on air button again, so it goes white and the lyrics disappear. This is what we call our overlay function. This overlay function allows us to put lyrics on top of video. So one thing to note is that during the sermon, we want the overlay to be off. So during the sermon, we have what we call full screen slides. And typically during our offering as well, we have full screen slides. So what we want to do is take off this overlay, and then when the lyric person or the slide person comes over here and clicks on offering, you'll notice that it doesn't change in our little preview corner here because we haven't switched over to camera 3 yet. So if we switch over to camera 3, I'll click 3 just to make sure, and then I click auto over here. Now we see that the offering slide is up. Okay, and it's essential that you turn the overlay off before going to a full screen slide. So if you don't turn off the overlay and the slide person clicks on the offering slide, I'm gonna keep it on this view here, you're gonna see what happens. All of a sudden we get this offering slide that's in black and white and only on 2/3 of the screen. And that's because the overlay is still on. When we turn the overlay off, that disappears, and then we are only putting in input from that second camera. But now that the slide person has gone to the offering slide, then you, as the video switcher, can click on 3, click auto, and switch over to the offering slide. So there is a little bit of an order and a process to it. Now every week, we print out these order of service sheets, and you'll see that there are 3 columns for sound, proclaim, and video switcher. And what I've been doing lately is I've been putting whether or not the overlay should be on or off, and which camera we should be on. What I've been doing recently is I've been writing them out in the order they should be done in. So for instance, you will see here that the overlay is off during the conversation starter. And that's because we want full screen slides. So we don't want lower thirds. And we just want the input from camera 3, which is the conversation starter. When we get to our welcome though, that's when we want to start getting ready for worship, because we have worship coming up, we have some songs coming up, and you can see this should all remain the same. So when it's time for worship, we're going to switch over to camera 2. So we're going to click 2, and then we're going to click this auto button here. Make sure we're on the band, so we're on the band. And then we know, okay, we should turn on camera 2 and then also turn the overlay on. And before you turn the overlay on, you should check with the slide person that they are on a blank slide, which is listed here. So that blank slide allows you to actually turn on the overlay, and nothing will pop up on the screen because it's a blank slide. So let's say you're going from a time of worship to the sermon or offering. You'll notice here that I've put instructions first to turn the overlay off and then switch over to camera 1. So let's say your lyrics are still up, the song is just about to end. The safest way to do this is to turn the overlay off first. And that way it is just a picture of the band. Then, according to the direction of the instructions, then we turn on to camera 1. And going to camera 1 will allow us to enter into the next scene, which will be whoever's giving the ministry update or introducing an offering or giving the message. And so that's why I have them written in the order that they are in. And you'll see under sermon notes, we'll switch between camera 1 and 3, because if we are on the speaker and they have a time of scripture, or they're reading scripture, or they have some notes, we're going to switch over to camera 3 over here. And then when we click auto, we'll switch over to a slide screen. Now, a cool function for the ATEM is, especially during the sermon, where you might be bouncing back and forth between the slide that Thomas set and between the video of him, you can actually just keep your finger on this auto button here, and when I click that, I'm just clicking that one button, it switches back and forth between the two. So now let's say that the sermon is over and we're going to go back into a worship song. So then the order switches, and we want to first go to camera 2. So right now we're on camera 1. We're going to switch over to camera 2, so we do have to click the 2 here, and then we click our auto button, and when I click that, then it switches over to the band. So it switches over to the band, we're about to do worship, the slide person will go to Death Was Arrested, so they'll be ready with that, and then the next order of operations is to turn the overlay on. So it's safest to switch to the video feed first and then turn the overlay on. And then when you're transitioning out of a time of worship, you'll want to turn the overlay off first and then switch to a different camera. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I hope it was helpful. Definitely reach out to me if there are any questions.